Jai Guruji, Sonia Auntie, am I visible and audible? Abhi to I cannot see any messages or anything. I see one viewer. Can I start? मैं start करूँ क्या? Jai Guruji. Okay, I see a message. Okay. So thank you, Guruji, for giving me this opportunity that I'm able to share. My name is Solnarehyah. और ये everything is a story in Guruji's world, in this journey with Guruji. Everything is a story. How this satsang happened, I felt this in me. I felt this, this impulse कि मैंने भी सत्संग करना है. सबके सत्संग सुनती हूँ, on YouTube and blessings and reading of Shiv Puran. It's always there. But when I drive to work, I hear it. When I drive back, I hear it. और जब भी मौका मिलता है, and I wanted to share my satsang. I had so many doubts, that if I share my satsang, मैं क्या कहूँगी, and how is this? There's just so many doubts. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I was so ready for the satsang in my mind, and I wanted to do the satsang, but अब जब satsang हो रहा, it started happening, और things started falling in place. Sonia auntie का मुझे message आया, and I said yes, but अंदर से इतनी feeling आ रही थी, no, just say no, because I can't do it. But मुझे ये पता था, if Guruji has the way it worked. I was driving home from work, and I was listening to a satsang on my car, on my phone, and I see the WhatsApp message. Actually, just minutes before that WhatsApp message from Sonia auntie, I was thinking कि पता नहीं सोनिया आंटी का मैसेज आया नहीं, क्योंकि थोड़े दिन पहले कांटेक्ट करा था मैंने सोनिया आंटी को, फिर आरती आंटी को, that I want to share, and then आरती आंटी said that Sonia aunty will contact you, but I didn't hear. और जैसे मैं सत्संग सुन रही थी किसी का, एक आंटी का, I was thinking शायद अभी मेरा टाइम नहीं आया, maybe I am not at that stage, maybe अभी मैं इतनी लायक नहीं हूँ, या गुरुजी ने एडमिट नहीं करा है, या for whatever reason, I was just doubting that. और immediately I get Sonia auntie's text, and she said, जय गुरुजी आंटी, आप सत्संग कब शेयर करोगे? And I started thinking कब करूँ. Then logically, like practically, जो मेरे पास टाइम ऐसा है जब मैं काम नहीं कर रही हूँ और बच्चे नहीं हैं, this was the perfect time. I said अभी कर लूँगी half an hour to 1 hour में. And it worked out. Here I am. So ऐसे कोई preparation नहीं है, but this is where I will start. I know Guruji's put me here, and I know कहने को तो I am sharing my experience, my feelings, my journey, but really I feel this is a way of him blessing me, कुछ और बड़ी कोई चीज़, something that I need to know, I need to learn, I need to get through. Some blessing is always coming in some way from Guruji. So मैं गुरुजी से कैसे मिली, और I would say the revelation. I feel like गुरुजी के साथ की जो journey है, it's in these parts where एक ऐसा मोमेंट, एक ऐसा फेज आता है कि लाइफ में यू हैव अ रेवलेशन कि oh, this was the man behind the scene kind of thing, और oh, I always knew him. और तो जब मुझे गुरुजी के बारे में पता चला, और you know, और उसके बाद, you know, the time between then and the time when I actually went to the temple, there was some, all of that was part of that revelation, slowly revealing, you know, that revealing all of this. 2017 May, I was divorced, and I have 2 kids. I'm a And I was always spiritual, you know, religion, spirituality, yoga, meditation was always a big part of my life. And पहले भी गुरुज थे, जब गुरु जी के पास आने से पहले भी, जब मैं इंडिया में थी तब गुरुज थे. पर 2017 के बाद 2018 में, you know, my dad, as I was going through these tough times, you know, I was struggling. I'm here by myself, or बहुत सारी struggles, you know, just going through these big crises in life. So my dad sent me a WhatsApp message of Guruji with the chola, you know, the जो वो वाला chola है, actually this one, this chola, and it had the mantra jap on the bottom. पहले तो मुझे ये नहीं पता था, गुरु, because वो इंग्लिश में लिखा था, तो I used to say it in a different way, even though Om Namah Shivaya is Om Namah Shivaya. But when I saw that, even though मेरे को कहीं पे ये लगा, you know, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to believe in Guruji. I just kept saying कि मैं पहले भी कुछ एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा हो चुका था जिसकी वजह से I said I don't want to go after any गुरुजी. मुझे गुरुजी वगैरह, गुरुज, उनके चक्कर में नहीं आना है. Whatever it is, you know, I do it. I believe in the God. I believe in God. I believe in the God within me. You know, I divine's with me, and I'll follow that path. I'll just listen to my heart. So I didn't want to, but my father just kept saying, my mom and dad, they were in India, and they just kept saying, both of them, कि एक बार थोड़ा सा इन विश्वास करके देखो, थोड़ा सा कुछ भी प्रे करके देखो. बहुत लोग कहते हैं चमत्कार होता है और क्या क्या ठीक हो जाता है, and a lot of things. In desperation, and that's it. In desperation, I would look at his swaroop, and I would just stare, and I would just chant that mantra jap. I had never heard it before, so I didn't know exactly how it sounded. But in my own way, I would do that mantra jap, and just within minutes, I would go into these deep silences. बिल्कुल साइलेंट, बिल्कुल स्टिलनेस में. और मैं इतने स्ट्रेस में थी उस टाइम पे. अभी भी, उसके बाद भी काफ़ी थोड़े टाइम बाद वो कुछ बड़ी सिचुएशन सॉल्व हुई, पर इतने स्ट्रेस में थी दैट इट वुड जस्ट नॉक मी आउट. यू नो, लाइक व्हेन आई वुड कम बैक विद इन दोज फ्यू मिनट्स, आई विल फील लाइक जैसे छोटे बच्चे उठते नहीं, सो के उठते हैं. यू नो हाउ फ्रेश यू फील, दैट फ्रेश फीलिंग आई वुड फील. But I did not correlate, I did not relate it to Guruji. I did not, because मैं वैसे भी मेरी फील्ड उस टाइम पे अभी भी थोड़ा बहुत मेरी फील्ड मेडिटेशन, I used to teach meditation, yoga, and you know, I used to do readings and healing and that work too, which, you know, Guruji showed me a little bit different way, so I don't do that right now. So साइलेंस में जाना या अच्छा इस टाइप का डीप मेडिटेशन होना, you know, that was like, that's what I used to do. मैं लोगों के साथ सोशलाइज वगैरह ज़्यादा नहीं करती थी, बट आई यूज टू स्पेंड मोस्ट ऑफ माई टाइम, ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ माई टाइम एक्चुअली बच्चों के साथ. नहीं तो आई वुड स्पेंड ऑल ऑफ माई टाइम ईदर जर्नलिंग और मेडिटेटिंग. That was my life. So, you know, going out, finding a guru to do this, I had done many things. I had done like hypnosis, meditation, hypnosis, so many, jitni healing modalities hai spiritual meditation. You know how ab ek new age ka this has been I don't know, I would say trend, but jo awakening hai, you know, so many people are following it. So I had been on that for a while I had an awakening. उसके बाद बहुत सारे physical changes आए, बहुत सारे internal changes आए, and then ever since then I was that path. So 2018, this is when I would go into those silences, that connection or something started happening. And there was one point at which I realized kuch to hai, there is something, there is something, because inner transformation, internally the way I used to feel, or suddenly as I was going through that, I started, my state of mind changed. And despite the circumstances, despite the situations, I felt elevated. Peace बहुत फील होता था, और पीस पहले भी फील होता था, बट लाइक लॉन्ग पीरियड नहीं होता था. और feeling, the feeling of feeling that everything is going to be okay and I'm okay, that feeling, despite the situation, that state of mind जो change हुआ, that came to me. So that's how I spent most of my 2018, and I felt like I'm okay now. I've gotten over the problems I had, grief and everything, and I've conquered life. But then 2019 May, and all this time I never visited Guruji's temple. Pennsylvania में where I live, there is no temple, but there is satsangs होते थे यहाँ पे. अभी तो कोविड की वजह से इतना नहीं है कुछ भी, बट न्यू जर्सी में सोमरसेट में टेम्पल था. आई हैड नो आइडिया एट दैट टाइम. So in 2018 was ending and 2019 was coming, I don't think timeline really matters. मैं years बोल रही हूँ, but I don't think it really matters. I think it matters in my mind. 2019 जब आया, I was in some big trouble, like मेरे ex-husband का और मेरा like court and custody का case चल रहा था, and it wasn't going really well for me, for kids, and मेरे पास कोई help नहीं थी यहाँ पे, कोई resources नहीं थे. It was so stressful. It was eating me. Like I was collapsing. Mental state, mera mental emotional state, ability to cope with it, what to do, but just like bahar ki situation se zyada internally, it was like an Everest that I cannot climb. It was very, very hard on me. The inner child hai, whatever, I had a hard time dealing with it. So it is at that time, during that time, that I actually started looking more and more for Guruji. और मेरे पेरेंट्स इंडिया से एनकरेज करते थे कि कुछ गुरुजी से देखो, गुरुजी के सत्संग सुनो. And I started listening to his satsang, and that's when I started, first time I heard Guruji's mantra jap on YouTube. And then I felt okay, ऐसे लंबा थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेच करके बोलते हैं ना हम, मैं तो ऐसे ही चैंट करती थी. I know it doesn't matter, but there's a breathing, थोड़ा फर्क पड़ता है, and I think it's more soothing जब वो stretch करके बोलते हैं, because it affects the breathing too, or whatever, I don't know, I feel better. So जब वो सुना, सत्संग सुनने लगी back to back, that's all I would do, because that was my way of coping. I had to do something to not continuously think about the problem that I cannot solve, and I couldn't do anything about it. I had to be able to be there for my children, young children, and I had to be there for life and do everything that needs to be done. कहीं छोड़ के भाग तो सकते नहीं है कुछ, you cannot give up. This is a fight I cannot run away from. It's for me, my children. It's just I'm attached to them. So it was tough. I just didn't know, but मैं सत्संग सुनते गई. So सत्संग मेरा coping mechanism था. And then I started looking. मेरे को ऐसे ही एक फीलिंग आई कि इंडिया में जब इतने जगह हैं जहाँ पे सत्संग होते हैं, टेम्पल्स हैं, यहाँ पे भी कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा. That's when I started searching, and on Facebook I found the temple in Somerset. And that's when I contacted the person over here, which is Seema auntie, and I called her and I said, मेरा ऐसे ऐसे situation है. I wasn't even saying कि मेरे को गुरुजी के दर्शन करने हैं, that's why I want to come. I was just saying मेरी ये problem है, मुझे solve करनी है, I want to come to Guruji. And she said, you know what, I'm a family lawyer. And I laughed and I said, कुछ तो है, you know, it's not all coincidence, there's some kind of synchronicity. And I said, okay. And she said, you just come here, everything will be okay. You just keep coming. So I said, okay, I'll come. उस टाइम पे मेरे को एक ये छोटा सा like बहुत बड़ा कोई सत्संग नहीं है, but it's a small little incident, but all these little tiny things keep adding up. You know, it's like shows his presence in our life even way before then we realize it. तो मेरी कार थी मेरे पास, वो काफी पुरानी थी, बट उसमें काफी प्रॉब्लम थी. लाइक उसमें उसके oil leak hota tha, and there was a big hole and in the oil tank, and I could not repair it. I couldn't afford to repair it, and so my solution was कि मैं अपने local ही रहूंगी, state से ज़्यादा outside नहीं travel करूंगी until I get it repaired. So I wasn't traveling outside anyway. 7 miles, 8 miles, that's it. And the Somerset temple is like about 70-80 miles from here. So मैंने कहा, I don't know how it will happen. So मैंने सीमा आंटी को बोला मेरे पास कार नहीं है, मैं आ नहीं सकती हूँ. And she said okay. Somehow एक ऐसा Sunday आया within a few weeks actually, and that was the day before I had my one custody hearing. This is the first time I would be going to the court for custody, for family court. And उस दिन से पहले, you know, that Sunday, I just felt मुझे जाना है somehow. So what I'll do is I'll rent a car. I rent a car. Satsang 2.5 hours का होता है. I started so late because somehow, I don't know, मैं resist कर रही थी, या the anxiety, you know, excitement है, anxiety है, whatever it was so much कि मैं बड़ी मुश्किल से अपने आप को convince करा कि मैं करती हूँ. Let me try it. And then I drove there. Only like half an hour left, about half an hour या उससे थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा would be left between the satsang time, and I just kept feeling इतना late जा रही हूँ. But I asked Seema auntie, it's so late, can I still come? She said, yes, you can come. So I just drove there, but all the while I was driving, and I say this again and again, all the while I was driving, I felt कि मैं अपने beloved से मिलने जा रही हूँ. जैसे कोई अपडेट पे जाता है, या अब तो I feel it's way beyond that feeling, you know, but it was this powerful feeling. बहुत सारी excitement भी थी, anxiety भी थी, fear भी था, you know, mixture of all the emotions, and but pull, a very strong pull. और सारे रास्ते, all the number synchronicities I'm seeing, you know, in cars, in addresses, mail posts जो है, mail boxes, सब जगह पे number synchronicities, which to me at that time was very meaningful. And right now also I feel कहीं पे 777 दिख जाता है, 77, all that is meaningful to me. You know, the way of my guru talk, just some message, you know, an acknowledgement, a confirmation. So I drove there. When I went there, and there's the way कि वहाँ पे अपने like shoes उतार के, then you walk in, and there's a little darbar, and you go into that room, and you go all the way to the through the aisle, और फिर अपना माथा टेको. I was shaking like I would just fall as I walked that little aisle, जो red carpet area, जो aisle है, you know, I just felt like कि सिर्फ गुरुजी है और मैं हूँ, और कोई भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. But it also felt, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि यहाँ पे ना कुछ movie सी चल रही है, and this has happened, this was just destined to happen, and I always knew this is gonna happen. और मैं गई, and I sat down. I didn't want to get up, but हमेशा के लिए तो वहाँ पे बैठ नहीं सकते हो, तो I did my matha, you know, I did the matha take, and I sat there, and it really felt like कि पता नहीं कब से मैं ढूंढ रही थी, कब से इतना time लगा दिया? Why did you take so long? You know, what took you so long? Was my question to Guruji at that point. Oh my gosh, I am so not, you know, my body is chilled and all the shivers. It's Guruji ki grace सहन करने के लिए भी बहुत, I guess, बहुत strength चाहिए. So that was my moment. The first time I went to the Somerset temple, and I experienced his glory, you know, the fragrance. Uske baad, I felt safe in that world. So that's how I started going to the temple. That's how the first time I met him, in a way. First time I felt that I have met him. So I sat, और उसके बाद बहुत रोती थी मैं. हर संडे को आती थी, हर थर्सडे को आती थी, और बहुत बहुत रोती थी. I would just cry and cry and cry, and I wanted to have those moments where I would just be still, you know, just be present and not think about things and not worry. But बहुत सारे ऐसे moments तो नहीं होते थे, but they were long moments, because I would just pass out. मैं कई बार होता था कि मैं volcano of emotions लेके आती हूँ, and I would sit there and I would have one sip of chai prasad, and my eyes was closed and my head would be like this for the entire satsang. And itne visions and experiences chalte the that like lights and all the experiences. But you know, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा उसमें caught up नहीं होती थी, because of course for me I was too consumed in my mental state was not of being present completely, you know, not the carefree. So I had to learn. Guruji taught me slowly, still teaching me to trust, to have faith, and slowly वो अपनी dose देते रहते हैं, you know, with one thing or other something. And then I realized, oh, I still have to keep working on it. I still you know, as much as I think कि है इतना faith है, अब तो faith हो गया, अब तो काफी हो गया, अब तो काफी trust हो गया, you know, now I can do it. But then I realized that no, if I'm worrying so much, if I'm not letting the problem go, if I'm overthinking it, then, you know, somewhere I'm still not there. I still haven't learned to let go and trust and surrender. So, you know, but I also know that he's working on it more than I have to. So he will make it happen. And that's how I started going to the temple. Now this is the part where I feel like it was revealed to me that this is the man behind the scene. You know, this, like Guruji, it was revealed to me. But Guruji tak ki journey bhi bahut like there was lots of synchronicities. So somewhere मेरे को जब I had this awakening, मैं एक period कहती हूँ कि 2016 में sometime I had this awakening where just मेरा like all the clairvoyance and everything started coming up. मेरे को बहुत visions आना, and you know, all the past lives and everything, seeing guides, and you know, I used to see Sheshnag, and I would see as my guide, and I would see this blue figure a lot in my dreams, but also visions, and just communicating with the divine. और मुझे लगता था कि मेरे साथ कोई guide है, and you know, blue, it's blue, but kabhi I had my own names, you know, my own perception. I don't know वो कभी भी clarify होगा कि नहीं. But after coming to Guruji's temple, I started relating. This one incident used to stand out in my life, which I never I had kind of blocked out for many years of my life. One time I was about 19 or 20, and you know, वो 16 सोमवार के व्रत होते हैं. My grandma had said to me, you should keep that. You should do the vrat, so the for obviously a good husband. And I was taking the milk, lote mein milk leke. I was going to the Shiv mandir, and I was going to do that, you know, Shivling pe chadana tha. And as I was walking in the middle of the street, it's a busy market, around 7 7-8 o'clock होंगे या around that time, the evening time. और busy market में I'm walking and I don't know, I still remember जब मैं वो incidents वो याद करती हूँ, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि I was in a different place, you know, as if everything had disappeared and I was there. There was this old lady और जो बड़ी traditionally dressed, very old lady, वो चुन्नी पहन के and थोड़ा like you know, all the bangles or tika and like accessories जैसे पहन के and लहंगे में all that. She was sitting on the side of the road and she had all these potlies, sacks of bags that were sitting beside her on the middle of the road. मेरे माइंड में एक बार भी क्वेश्चन नहीं हुआ कि ये this is so weird, you know, this is unusual, नहीं हुआ. But she was just sitting there and she called me beti, and I looked at her and she said, I was worried to go to her because I was like, ये क्यों बुला रही है मेरे को रास्ते में सड़क में सबके, you know, like why is she calling me? But she called me, I went to her and she said ये सुई में धागा लगा दे. So I said okay. Then I said वो लोटा कहाँ रखूं? She said come here, लोटा मेरे पास रख दे. So she kept the lota with her and then she said सुई में धागा लगा दे. So I started doing that. As I was doing it, I was also worried, पता नहीं लोटे में क्या करना है, कि she's keeping it right next to her and I'm, you know, this is just so weird, right in the middle of the street, sitting in the evening and she's asking me to do this. और मेरे mind में एक बार भी ये सब questions नहीं आए, ये सारे questions तो बाद में आए. So I did that for her. I took my lota and I walked away. I was blank at that time. As I walked away, I would have walked like 5 steps and then suddenly it hit me, what was that? So I turned around, there was no lady, there was no bags, there was nothing. And actually the lady was sitting outside the store, जिसका shutter बंद था, shutter खुला हुआ था. Now the store was open. So I walked and tried to see. Now she was an older lady, there is no way she could have disappeared or ran so fast. फिर मैंने एक शॉपकीपर से पूछा वो लेडी कौन थी, वो लेडी कहाँ गई, वो माई कहाँ गई? कहता है कौन माई? So that was my first experience. और गुरुजी से, you know, like after my awakening, that kept coming back to me. After meeting Guruji, like after coming to the temple, I've always felt like that was a connection. That was something where, some connection where he had come in some form or sent somebody in some form, you know, like a blessing, like an incident for remembering that would stay with me. Because for all these years it was blocked. और ऐसे कई सारे छोटे छोटे इंसिडेंट्स हुए थे. My son was 11 months old. 11 months के बच्चे तो babbling करते हैं, you know. And one time he was just sitting there and babbling on the bed. And I was a little bit further away from him and I was doing something. और मुझे ना distinctly सुनाई दिया, बच्चे ने बोला 777. I was like, what? And then I asked his dad, now my ex-husband, his dad, but did you hear? He said, what? I just heard him babbling. I said, no, I heard him say 777. And incidentally, usse pehle din, I had this dream where my little one was climbing the swing and playing in the playground and he was saying the same thing, 777. At that time, I had no understanding what this is. जब मैं गुरुजी के टेम्पल में आई, लोगों ने, you know, people started saying that, you know, 7, significance of 7, Guruji 7. Then this incident came to my mind कि जब वो छोटा था मेरा बेटा, I had that too with me. So anyways, moving forward, because मेरी ये जो awakening, you know, I felt like this awakening that came, it could clear, just I could see so many things, feeling energies and seeing things and hearing, just अपना भी past life, लोगों का भी. So, you know, I felt like my calling was to follow this path. And as I was teaching meditation, started teaching meditation, I was teaching yoga for a long time. And then I went down this path and I started, you know, doing readings. और अब गुरुजी के टेम्पल जाने से थोड़े टाइम पहले जो तो रीडिंग्स यूज्ड टू बी सो एक्यूरेट दैट पीपल यूज्ड टू आस्क मी कि कितना ऐसे इतनी एक्यूरेट कैसे होती है, एंड आई एम नॉट यूजिंग एनी टू, यू नो, आई डिडंट रियलाइज उस टाइम पे भी कि गुरुजी से दिस हैड एनी कनेक्शन, एंड there was a lot of arrogance that came, you know. I felt like I am so good, itna acha kar leti hu main, you know, this is my gift, this is everything. It did, if it was, you know, and that I think whether uska consequence hua ya for whatever reason how it played out was that's when the downfall started. And then when I started coming to Guruji's temple and hearing people and feeling all the experiences, that's when I realized that these are all the experiences that I used to feel, I used to experience, and other people, all the people over here are having same experiences. जैसे गुरुजी ड्रीम्स में आके मैसेजेस देते हैं, बोलते हैं, all the visions you see पहले से बता देते हैं, you know, modifying situation. And for me, that's when I was like, you know, यहाँ पे सबको वही एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं जो मेरे को लगता था कि यू नो इट्स समथिंग यूनिक, which it is very special, you know. I feel like हम सबको, हम बहुत ब्लेस्ड हैं कि गुरुजी हर फॉर्म में, you know, हमारे को इतना शार्प कर दिया है हमको कि हम हमारी सेंसेस, you know, the sixth sense, he awakens, he communicates to us and gives us so much more than we can ever imagine. So now as I went through, my first day, जब मैं कह रही थी, first I went to the temple was before my custody hearing, and then I went through that whole custody battle, but Guruji was with me. There was difficulties. It was difficult for me to take a stand and, you know, stand up to my ex-husband and fight the system. System didn't feel very justified. अपने कर्मों का है या whatever lesson, you know, it just, I feel like step by step, Guruji always just kept uplifting me and just guiding me and pushing me through situation. There were so many times where I would just say, मैं तो response भी नहीं करती थी emails का, like, you know, things that people would be jumping up on and taking a step, I would just leave it. I'd be like, Guruji, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, I cannot deal with this, I'll just leave it on you. I don't know, whatever you do. But अंदर ये faith था that he will not let me like fall. कुछ इतना गड़बड़ नहीं हो सकता है. डर तो बहुत लगता था, अभी भी लगता है, but लगता है कि he will somehow manage, you know. बहुत ज़्यादा डैमेज नहीं होने देंगे, और जो भी डैमेज हुआ है वो भी that will correct itself. So that's how somehow the battle or the custody time, you know, it went on for a while, but after like a year and a half, I went through more crisis, you know. COVID came. I hadn't seen my dad who's in India for like 5 years. He passed away last June. It was, but before he left, you know, Guruji showed me so many things. He showed the, you know, he blessed, and he communicated to me that my dad is with him and my dad's taken care of. And you know, the one thing that I keep thinking back is one of the things I said to my dad before he had passed away, and I didn't even know that he was sick at that time. He wasn't. And I said, thank you Papa for connecting me to Guruji. मेरी जिंदगी में सबसे बड़ी blessing, you know, like the biggest thing that has happened in my life. This is the biggest gift you've given me. And he just said, oh, I'm you know, you're welcome. And I just felt वो जो thank you मैं कर पाई, for me it was very big, because he is the person who connected, you know, who was the medium. पापा ने push करा, और जिस तरह से he led me, he just didn't give up. And I know my dad is with Guruji. My dad was healed at that time too. मेरे को पापा कनेक्ट कराने से पहले माई डैड वॉज ऑल्सो गोइंग थ्रू सम स्टफ, एंड वो गुरुजी की कृपा से ही मेरे पापा हील हुए थे, क्योंकि ही स्टार्ट गोइंग टू द टेम्पल, ही स्टार्टेड गोइंग हैविंग लोटा, एंड स्लोली ही स्टार्ट बिकम बेटर. एंड इवन इन द लास्ट बिफोर ही लेफ्ट, यू नो, मैं अपने ब्रदर से बोलती थी कि गुरुजी का स्वरूप पापा को दे दे, एंड ही सेड I said that to dad, and पापा कहते हैं गुरुजी के स्वरूप की जरूरत नहीं है, गुरुजी मेरे दिल में है. And you know, that is exactly the feeling I had felt, even though मैंने उसको बोला था कि वो फोटो स्वरूप दे दे गुरुजी का, but I had felt in my heart that that's how I feel and that's how he feels. It's very assuring for me to feel that, because गुरुजी है हमारे दिल में, you know, हम स्वरूप पहनते हैं सब, that's for our own mind, but he really is in our heart, and he was in my dad's heart. And when my dad left, I couldn't talk to him, I didn't, but as he was leaving unka, I could see his my brother showed me his live video, my dad's live video on you know, जब उनका अंतिम संस्कार हो रहा था. And at that time, you know, I was realizing हमारे जितने इतने सारे हमारे बंधन हैं, रिलेशनशिप हैं, बट जब you know, in that fire all the relationships are gone, everything is gone, because अब तो वो सोल ही रह जाती है, you know. And I just feel एक गुरुजी के साथ हमारे जो भगवान है, उनके साथ हमारी जो लाइट है, हमारा जो ये जन्मों जन्मों का, you know, whatever we come from him, we come from that light, ये connection है that will always stay. So again, you know, awakening at in different ways, through different challenges, physical situations बहुत आई, and I'm not gonna say कि मेरे life में बहुत physically miraculous change हो गए हैं, and you know, I'm living like like a very luxurious life or anything, but the inner transformation, the person I have become, how I feel within me, you know, कोई भी काम करने में, you know, it takes to do the right thing, to even forgive, it takes so much strength. I don't think I have a power to forgive, but I feel confident in sitting in front of Guruji and saying, Guruji, I cannot forgive, please help me forgive. And I feel like एक inner transformation आता है, एक inner transformation. He's just like, he's my best friend, he's there with me all the time, and I feel like सबके लिए ऐसा है, but he's there with me किसी भी time, कहीं पे भी, कैसे भी connect करो, you know, because you're not like, he's always with you. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम यहाँ पे नहीं कनेक्ट कर सकते, वहाँ पे नहीं कनेक्ट कर सकते, कि कुछ प्लेसेस रिस्ट्रिक्टेड है, you know, like bathroom is restricted, ऐसा नहीं है. We can connect to him even laying down sleeping, you know, and it's just, we are so raw and so just naked in front of him, you know, internally सब कुछ उनके सामने है. And to have that kind of connection with anybody, oh my gosh, what a blessing it is. I mean, I'm not saying कि लाइफ में और ये इश्यूज चैलेंजेस नहीं आते हैं, you know, कि एकदम से बिल्कुल स्ट्रेस फ्री हो जाते हो. At least didn't happen for me. I still worry, I still overthink, I still get very, very stressed. But, you know, knowing that Guruji is here and Guruji is listening, and this is my ritual. Before I go to work, or any morning, I wake up, I matha take here, and I sit here with Guruji and I open my heart and I talk. Before I go to work, you know, I will say everything to him, and I feel like light. I've never किसी से भी दुनिया में शेयर करके मुझे कभी इतना लाइट और लव नहीं फील हुआ. I can share my darkest feelings with him, you know. I can even say to him, I feel hatred. And I feel like I have no shame in saying that to my Guru, because what's in my heart, he knows it and he sees it. So if I'm saying it, I feel free to be able to say that. And it heals me. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं अपने अंदर का जो भी whatever it is, garbage, whatever, I just leave it in front of him as I talk, as I share. And he heals me, he clears me, cleans me. I was telling one of my friend that I feel like I sit in front of Guruji, I open up an issue, this is what's happening, Guruji, what do we do, this is how I'm feeling, and I feel like my soul gets a car wash, you know. And he has his ways, he will, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, for me, what I've needed, the inner transformation. I would love कि मेरी physical situation भी change हो जाए, but inner transformation has been more meaningful and more valuable for me. And I see that Guruji already sees that, so he gives that to me. So when I sit with him and I open and I talk, you know, it's a blessing. और ऐसे ही मैं अपना रात night भी end करती हूँ. You know, कुछ काफी सारी इसमें, like some things that I'm missing here are things like, जैसे मैं जब मैं reading करती थी, readings और वो spiritual work जो मैं कह रही हूँ, that I used to do, it was great. I used to feel lots of peace and it was beautiful, all that experience. But मेरे को ना बहुत बाइंडिंग हो गई थी, लाइक क्रिस्टल्स की बाइंडिंग, एंड यू नो, इस जगह पे नहीं जाना, उस जगह पे नहीं जाना, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू फील ऑल दीज एनर्जीज. सो I had, it was very isolating experience because I feel like I could not meet a lot of people because I would feel their energy and their feelings and emotions. I couldn't go to places जहाँ पे पुरानी like ancient चीजें होंगी, and I couldn't be around, be in a big crowd. Literally I used to choke, and कितनी सारी चीजें, इतनी restrictions हो गई थी ना, that it was constricting me. Guruji se milke, I mean, I cannot even relate to the person that I was because he freed me. सबसे पहले मेरे सारे crystals उतारे, सारे crystals. मैं एक छोटा सा, like you know, I used to believe कि ये छोटा सा मेरे पास tourmaline है, या ये black stone है, या these are what is protecting me. Citrine, you know what's protecting me. I had all kinds of crystals, jewelry maybe, stones maybe, raw form में, you know. I still believe, and they're beautiful. But it was slaving me, you know. I was becoming slave to it. So Guruji ने पहले मुझे crystal से free करा, you know. I came to a point immediately, और बहुत जल्दी करा, you know. After I came to the temple, उसके बहुत जल्दी he first freed me of all of that. So no longer was I afraid. I could be around people and not feel anything. I could go to any place. I could go to people's houses and not feel anything. And I started feeling more and more safe. थोड़ा सा उस चीज में time लगा, but he, you know, I don't know what he did. या तो मेरे issues clear करे, या shield, you know, like shelter ऐसे रखा, या whatever. He freed me mentally, emotionally, because ये सारे belief systems were tying me down. और ऐसे बहुत से belief, ये तो crystals का एक ही belief है, ऐसे तो बहुत सारी beliefs हैं जो गुरुजी ने मुझे free करा. He freed me. You know, and the other thing was being able to see people, you know, as they are. Like हर कोई different है, हर किसी को अपने ऐसे expect करना कि वो हमारे जैसे है, you know. We cannot, you know, maybe what they do is right to them, feels right to them, you know. Who am I to judge? So he really, Guruji helped me with that, and that helped me internally, because now I could let go. जब तक हम, you know, when you're looking at somebody and when you're feeling, how could they do this? How could they do this? That is more of a shock. Acceptance, and just going with the flow and being okay with whatever you have. You know, all these words, all these virtues are big, are very, very big. Inki very hard, but he made it easy. I never felt like I was doing anything. It always felt like all I have to do is come sit here and again open up an issue. Just talk to Guruji, ऐसा feel हो रहा है. And he does it. He will work. कुछ चीजें थोड़ा time में, but कुछ चीजें जल्दी. ऐसे ही मेरे कार का बताती हूँ. तो वो कार का, you know, next time I went to the temple, I was like, okay, let me see, मैं यही अपनी कार चला के जाती हूँ. If, you know, I'm going to see Guruji, it won't break down. I have no idea. मैं गुरुजी के टेम्पल जाने से पहले I just took it to the mechanic. Mechanic ने $20 में he said that I'll just look at the car, and he said no, you can go anywhere. It's not such a big hole. It's not a big deal. और उससे पहले जो मेरा assessment हुआ था, or the mechanic clearly said, it was actually a dealership. They said you shouldn't drive this car. This is junk. It can break down anywhere. You shouldn't be driving it. You shouldn't be selling it. Isko junkyard mein de do. That's all. That you shouldn't do anything with it. So obviously I wasn't afraid to go anywhere with it. Or bachche bhi the. I cannot say that to anybody. So I still had to drive. But I was like, who knows, kya kara hai Guruji ne? This was not a problem. That car drove for a very long time. Guruji ke temple jana, aana, sab kuch hua kafi time tak, And then at one point last year, my car broke down sometime in June. And then I didn't have enough money to repair it, and I couldn't buy a new car. Kahan se kaise arrangement hua, kya hua? On 7th July, Guruji got me a minivan. It's a used minivan, but it's perfect for me and my children. It's a family car. It's great, and it has Guruji's blessing. It was the 7 amount. There's a 7 amount on that, and it's perfect for me. That's he managed it. ना कि मैंने कभी ना सोचा था कि मैं मिनीवैन चला पाऊंगी, because it's a bigger car, and I always felt like मेरे लिए छोटी car sedan models are okay. I cannot drive the bigger ones, but it feels like a piece of cake now. It feels like it was always meant to be, and so I was never ready for that, and I didn't think that I could afford that. But all of that happened with Guruji's grace, and it happened very easily. It happened in a way that it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. But it also happened when at a point I felt like, ने जो कराना वो करा लेंगे, गाड़ी मिलनी होगी मिल जाएगी, नहीं मिलती ना मिले, जो भी है काम चल जाएगा. I've noticed कि जब मैं ऐसे point पे आती हूँ, I become relaxed and things flow. ऐसे मकान के search में बहुत problem हो रही थी. Where I was renting, the landlord wanted to sell the place for 2 years. He was, saying, I need to sell it. But then I was going through custody. So I said, I cannot sell right now. I cannot sell because, that will be used in the court, and that will be a big thing. And somehow he would understand. And I would go to Guruji and be like, kaise rent dungi मैं, Guruji kaise rent दूंगी. Something would come to me कि मैं उनसे request करूंगी, and it's a blessing कि ऐसे लोग भी हैं इस time पे. He has his own family to support and everything, but he understood, and I could pay lesser rent. एक आध month का तो छोड़ भी दिया. He didn't even take a rent. I don't know. I have not heard of that happening, especially not here where people really need, month to month expenses इतने high होते हैं that you can't just afford to just leave it. And it's not like कि कोई बहुत बड़े builder हो, कोई हो. Just a person like, family person, just working class. And so that happened. And then I kept on looking. बहुत से ऐसे experiences हुए बड़े, इनको the only way जो लीला कहते हैं, that's a good word, लीला. गुरुजी की लीला चलते रही, और मेरे लिए I was just kept feeling like ये सब कुछ एक एडवेंचर सा चल रहा है सारे टाइम. I'm like, okay, I'll start to buy. लोन के लिए अप्रूव हो गया, फिर लोन के लिए नहीं अप्रूव हो सकता. All these things chaos सा चलता है. एक I have no idea. बहुत सी क्योंकि काफी बार हो चुका है different situations में. एक सर्कल सा कुछ चलता है. For a while, for those of you who've experienced it, you would understand, but I don't have a better way of explaining. But it's kind of like this story, this chaos, some drama happening. After all that play, suddenly fog clears up, and the picture is clear. And that's how I found a house. When I came at a point, fine. If I don't find a house, I don't find a house. If my landlord kicks me out, then I'll go kick out at that time. जब वो time आएगा तब मैं figure out करूँगी. And I would actually reach Aarti auntie and Aarti auntie would say, Solnarehyah, Guruji is not going to let you get on the street. So trust your Guruji. Just trust the path of, total, complete surrender and faith. She's been a big inspiration too. Every time I've heard her Aarti, if you know Aarti auntie, her satsangs have been so full of positive messages and Guruji's love. It's been very inspiring for me. And all the satsangs, feel so, they're so touching. Each of them have all their own different messages. They are not just reminders, but also healing internally, something like that. So I kept doing that. Houses will come, I'll be like, what is the point? Reject ho jaungi, mera approve to hona nahi hai, kyunki it's been so थोड़ा सिचुएशन ऐसी थी कि अप्रूव नहीं हो रही थी और रेंटल बाइंग का नहीं वर्कआउट हो रहा था. रेंटल का बहुत एप्लीकेंट्स people have been waiting for a long time, and it wasn't getting approved. I would prepare everything, I would have my file ready, everything, all the documents, I would go present, and I would still get rejected. So I was like, well, fine, you know what, okay, one more, I'll go see it. I'm not going to get approved, but I'll just keep seeing it. I will take the action and let Guruji do whatever he wants to do, but I'll just take my action. More like mechanically. So I came and saw, and the guy said, okay, submit in the application. I submitted the application. Still, I'm like, okay, no, but somehow it worked out. And the way it worked out is like I had a few days to move in, and all this is happening, and I'm still not in the complete, it's not completely sunk in, because जब बहुत सारे rejections होते हैं, बहुत time लगता है किसी चीज, repeatedly failing, repeatedly getting rejected, you don't feel like it has worked out, right? So I didn't feel it, that this is really happening, even though I am moving everything, but it didn't sink in completely. But I did, and I'm still on rent, but it's a better house. There's room for my kids. It's a house. I wanted a house. I was in a condominium. It was very, I wanted a house. I have 2 bunnies, and I wanted them to have an outdoor space. I just feel like छोटे बच्चे हों, थोड़ी घर की feeling होए. So there were some things that I wanted, that I really wanted, and I got that here, and it's perfect for me. And the way the moving happened, I worked so many hours that moving का भी मेरे पास कोई और help नहीं थी, कुछ नहीं है. Somehow, how it happened, I don't know, but moving के day मुझे वो migraine headache हो गया. Migraine headaches, पता नहीं अब after COVID, I've started having that, maybe mask के वजह से, या for whatever reason, stress somehow, and it turned into one of those when you get nauseous, when you throw up, and I am driving my car, pulling over on the street, pulling over on the road, throwing up in bags, and बहुत difficult था physically, but it didn't feel hard. Mechanically तो ये सब हो रहा है, okay? Pain भी है, सब कुछ है, mechanically ये सब हो सकता है, but it didn't feel like, अंदर से ऐसा नहीं लगा कि it's weakening me. मैं सारा moving, सब कुछ कर पा रही थी. Pain तो फिर भी था, and all of that, I felt like the best way to explain it is like he's holding you up. It's like carrying you. And so even though you're going through the motions, the movements, you're being carried through it. So I always feel like that. And there are so many things in my day-to-day life that I sit here and he guides or in some way communicates of what's the next step, what to do. My children, एक तो सत्संग सुन के ना, different लोगों के सत्संग सुन के एक understanding सी आती है that Guruji has, this is my perception, हो सकता है, it's my own interpretation, कि Guruji का सबके साथ बहुत different relationship है. I always felt that God is very personal. God is not one, जैसे objectively बता दिया कि ऐसे God है. God is not just ये है और यही है सबके लिए. I feel like God is very personal, it's just how we see it, how we feel it, what we understand, the relation we have. And I feel like Guruji के साथ वही है, that we all have a very different relationship with Guruji. My children, I worried about that a lot. Ki I don't know if they're learning. I don't know if I'm able to teach them enough about my culture, But I noticed my 6-year-old, I would, I was sick, I was hurting. He just came to me, he put his arm on me and started doing the mantra jap. और मंत्र जाप वो 7 times जो मंत्र जाप होता है जो 5 minutes वाला है सदा मासूम जी का जिसमें the last one is on a higher pitch. He did exactly that. And I was laying there and I just kept wondering, why do I ever worry? Guruji is teaching them in whatever way he's teaching them. And I've noticed in so many times whenever he has a problem, he's chanting himself. He's Matha, he will Matha take and he will talk to Guruji. He doesn't always share with me. They have a completely different understanding and relationship with Guruji. And that's a blessing, because they have that. They have that which I would never be able to give them, which living in this world, in this life, whether they have friends or family or not, they will always have this connection with Guruji, and that will carry them through in life, chahe upar uch neech hoye, jo bhi hoye, there is that steady, that leash, that door Guruji ke saath jo hai, that will always be there and they'll always pull them in the right path. Guruji has given me, he's given me also the strength to be able to speak and stand up on things that I've felt very, it's felt very hard for me, but he's helped me and he's given me that. मैं बोलते जा रही हूँ and I feel like there's so many things I wanted to share, and I had no idea what I was going to say. I was completely blank and I said, Guruji, well, if I'm going on the page, you're the one, you'll give me something to speak. मैं pen और paper भी लेकर I thought that I'll start writing, but I never got around to that. It just started. I don't know if there's anything else that I can share, but I would say, for me, my every moment, day to day life में जो moment है, जो thinking है, जो feeling है, जो actions हैं, जो intentions हैं, that is where I see my Guruji's impact. It is not in the big, or it is not in like the house I live in, on the car I drive, or the job I have, or my personal situation or anything. For me, Guruji is in every moment in my life, in my day-to-day life. What I have, that's my master artist painting, is painting. Well, thank you so much for listening. Shukrana Guruji. I think जब मैं शौक से वापस आऊँगी तब रियलाइज़ होगा कि मैंने सत्संग शेयर करा है. अभी तो एक गुरुजी की महिमा लीला में चल रही हूँ. So I don't know what it is. Thank you. Shukrana Guruji. Thank you so much for blessing me and allowing me to speak to the Sangat, be a part of this family. Thank you for blessing us all. Shukrana Guruji. Jai Guruji.